Hello, welcome back to the channel, and today will be a Tennessee video. I know I didn't have the Michigan stuff on in the last video, but I decided to put the Tennessee stuff on for the Tennessee game. And today, as you can tell by the title, it is not the Joe Rogan experience, it's the Joe Milton experience. And I was fortunate enough to go with my family and sit in the student section with my sister at the Clemson Orange Bowl game, Tennessee versus Clemson. And that was the second game we had the Joe Milton experience. As a Michigan fan who has recently become a Tennessee fan, as my sister goes there, as I just mentioned, I think I know a bit more about Joe Milton than the average person. I've watched him now for two teams. He had 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns this year against Clemson in his one start. 19 for 28, 67%. 251 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was sacked 4 times and had 11 rushes for 5 yards, 10 yards long. So he didn't really run it like he used to at Michigan, but you know, you do what you can. Now, Joe Milton, 6'5", 245, senior. He's like a creative player you would do on Madden or old NCAA games. When you would forget to go to the physical section or the mental section and add up awareness. He's got a tendency to throw the ball to the other team. Obviously no picks this year, but being a Michigan fan, oh boy. I can just pull up his career stats here. Michigan, he had 4 touchdowns and 4 picks in his 1 year of starting. 80 completions on 141 attempts for 1,000 yards and 4 touchdowns. So he had pretty much the same yards as he did this year, with significantly more passes and less attempts. So there's a few factors that go into that, right? One is that development of him going from a sophomore to a senior, 5th-year senior now this year, or is that him in a system that allows you to throw the football? Michigan, I've said for a long time, doesn't let you throw the football. There's kind of broken plays as well, but against Ohio State, when J.J. McCarthy and Cornelius were able to connect on a few long balls and make it happen, that was like a rare moment for Michigan football. I'm like, whoa, we're throwing the ball down the field. Kind of with TCU too. Unfortunately, it's because we were behind the whole game, but throwing the ball. So this Josh Heupel system really, I think, is going to suit Milton well. Will he even start over Nico Malavea, the #1 recruit in the country now, according to On3, and I believe 24/7 too, but I know On3 for sure. Will he, that coming in that top recruit, will that help out at all? I don't know. I think the Tennessee spring game and spring ball itself is going to be very interesting to see where in terms of quarterbacks, who's going to end up starting this gig. Nico's just as tall and strong. And I don't know if he's as strong, but he's quick and can move. But I know Milton knows the system well, so he might spend half the year behind if they lose a game. I know they have the schedule up here. I know they have a tough stretch of Texas A&M at home, at Alabama, at Kentucky. If he struggles in those games, could he get pulled for Nico, similar to like a Cade coming in, or JJ coming in for Cade thing that we saw at Michigan? I don't know. But Milton has been pulled mid-season before when he just kind of, you get a little bit too much. But that's what I think makes Joe Milton one of the most fun quarterbacks to watch. The Joe Milton experience. He'll run. I remember there was one drive against Clemson where he ran the wrong way. Running backwards and right into a defensive lineman, got sacked, and then the next play was like a 50-yard touchdown pass, and it was like, all right, this is the Joe Milton experience. And I was just tweeting it in all caps and screaming and laughing because it was pretty funny. I was like, the Joe Milton experience. He gets sacked, a dropped pick, and then a bomb, right? But I think his ability, he didn't really move much, but granted, Hendon Hooker didn't really run the ball before he came to Tennessee. But I think with the system in place, he could succeed more than he has in the past. Now, will he, I did hear the F word and the H word thrown around the crowd there in the student section. Granted, they were a little under the influence, I would say. Most of the fans there having a great time down in the orangest Orange Bowl of all time in Miami. But they did say the F word, future, and the H word, Heisman, when it came to Joe Milton. And I was like, all right, guys, listen, I know it's that way, but you look at this here. I want to pull up his game log if I can from the 2020 season in COVID, when I may or not have tweeted out that he's Heisman. Against Minnesota, he was 15 for 22, 225 yards and a touchdown, 8 rushes for 52 yards and a touchdown. Now, I know that's not that impressive, but when he was throwing the ball, it was like, okay, this is something special we got going on here. I like it. Granted, his next game was the Halloween game where we lost to Michigan State as like 25-point favorites. He did throw the ball 51 times, 300 yards. It's got to be some sort of Michigan record. But I mean, his games are all right. 225, 300, and then 344. Against Wisco, Michigan got murdered through 2 picks, but you do what you can. I think he's grown up. He's gotten a little bit leaner. I don't know if he's gotten more strong, but he's gotten, appears leaner, probably stronger as well. So he's a bit more mobile, but he used to run it a lot back in Michigan. And I think that they can introduce that in the Tennessee offense, where they stack those 2 receivers on the side and then the running back next to him, a little read option, maybe every once in a while, like, every third, second down or something like that. I think that could be interesting. But I just think that Tennessee's going to do pretty well next season. This is my official Tennessee prediction. I'll do predictions in like the spring or something, or the dog days of summer. But they'll probably start off against Virginia, beating a Power 5 team at Nissan Stadium, the Titan Stadium. That'll get people going. Austin P, a good little tune-up. And then playing at Florida is going to be a bit of an experience. But other than that, it's a pretty easy schedule to that tough stretch I mentioned. They have UTSA and South Carolina at home, revenge game for South Carolina. Texas A&M at home, at Alabama, at Kentucky, home against UConn, at Missouri, and then the big one, Georgia at home. As long as they split Alabama and Georgia and take care of business everywhere else, they should be contending for the playoff. Obviously, the Georgia game is more important than Alabama in terms of conference and going to the SEC championship game. But with Georgia not having a bona fide quarterback, usually you can be like, oh, this is the quarterback of Bama, this is the quarterback of Georgia. You can't do that for them either this year. Tennessee doesn't know because they have 2 guys. So that's the difference between that. But I want to keep these a bit shorter. I think we're hitting about 7 minutes now, so I'll cut a little bit out. But I think Tennessee could go 10-2. That's the prediction as of now. I don't know who the quarterback's going to be, but, be ready for the Joe Milton experience. Could be a fun second team for you to pick up and support because a lot of stuff goes on with Joe Milton. So I appreciate the support as always. Please like, subscribe, share, send it to a friend. Send it to 3 friends, or you'll get bad luck for 30 years. Something like that, So thank you though for support. Seriously, really appreciate it. And go Vols.